3A.2. I've decided to go abroad for a few years. Oh wow, really? I'm going to do some voluntary work, teaching English probably. So, where are you going? Ethiopia. I'm going with an organization called Voluntary Service Overseas. Oh, how long are you going for? Well, 2 years initially, and then I have to. No, I have the option of extending for another 2 years if I want to. Will you be in the capital? Not sure yet, but probably not. I'll probably be in a small town somewhere, 'cause they usually send you to rural areas. Wow, that'll be amazing. When are you leaving? Sometime in August. It's not fixed yet. There's lots of stuff to organize, like injections and visas and all that. And your flat? What are you going to do with your flat and your stuff? Well, I have to move out of the flat before too long. I mean, I'm not going to pay rent all the time I'm away. So I guess I'll put all my stuff in my parents' attic or garage or something. I'll take some stuff if you like. Put it in the spare room. Thanks, that'd be great. So, are you going to have like email and all that? We'll be able to keep in touch? Well, I don't really know, but I hope so. But to be honest, I don't even know if there'll be electricity. But if I can't email, we'll have to do the old-fashioned thing and write letters. Remember how to do that? Oh yeah, just about. Maybe I'll come and visit you. Yeah, I do. It'll be great to see a familiar face. Three V.1. Mark Boyle had to abandon his trek to India. As soon as he arrived in France, he couldn't speak French, and the local people didn't understand what he was doing. They thought he was just a backpacker looking for a cheap holiday. By this time, he was cold, out of food, and hadn't slept for several days. So he decided to go off the expedition and try again once he had learned some French. Michel Fournier's record-breaking jump failed when his balloon left the ground without him. While the balloon was being inflated, it became detached from the capsule and flew up by itself. This was Mr. Fournier's third unsuccessful attempt to make the jump. Hala Hancock had to abandon his climb halfway. He was eating local bread in his tent one night, and he breathed in some of the flour off the top of it. He coughed violently, damaging a bone in his back. However, Alan returned to Nanga Parbat on another expedition and reached the summit. He went on to become the first British man to climb all four the 8,000-meter peaks. Dave Cornwright completed his skateboard trip across Australia and raised 16,000 for £3,000 for three children's charities. He also set a new world record for the longest skateboard journey. Dave became a well-known figure during his trek, and both passengers would look and wave as they passed. He now plans to write a book about his adventures. 3V.2. Have you got any holiday plans this year? Not this year, but I'm planning to travel to Argentina for a month next summer. Wow, sounds great. So will you be touring around the country or something? Yeah, I'll be flying to the capital and then I'll be traveling around the country by bus. What about the language? Do you speak any Spanish? Well, not at the moment, but I'm hoping to learn some Spanish. Before I go, I'll be taking classes. I've also found some websites for learning Spanish, so I'll be using those. Hopefully, by next year, I'll have learned enough to get by. Oh, what about money for the trip? I bet it. I bet it's expensive to get there, isn't it? Yeah, money is a problem. I'm aiming to save £150 a month. I have to spend less, so I won't be going out much in the evenings. Hopefully, I have saved enough by next July. It'll be difficult, but I think I can do it, and I'm really looking forward to the trip. Right? Well, good luck with that. Thanks. Mm, 3D.3. There's a story. There's a story here about some people who've taken a pay cut in order to work fewer hours. Would you do that? I mean, if you had a choice, what would you choose? More for time or more money? Oh, more for time, definitely. I mean, if the money was enough to live on, obviously. What do you want money for it? What do you want money for if you haven't got time to spend it? What about you, Jimmy? I'll take the I take the pay increase. You know, 'cause most of the stuff I want to do in my free time requires cash. You know what I mean? It's like, what can you do? Anyway, without cash these days in France, sit in a park and watch the trees grow. Oh, come on, Jimmy. All the best things in life are free, don't you think, Tom? Don't know really. I like I like a bit of both, I guess. So if I could choose more paid or more for time, I suppose it would depend how many hours I've worked in the first place. If I could work, say, 40 hours a week and get reasonable income, I'd be happy enough with that. If I if I had too much for time, I wouldn't know what to do with it. But some people will do anything to get more money, and I'm not like that either. Nice one, Tommy. Always Mr. Compromise. So, what what would you do? No. So, what would you do for money, Jimmy? Let's say, for example, someone in your family had connection or whatever. You know, would you use them to like get ahead in your career? Absolutely. That's the way of the world. You have to use everything you've got. You see, I don't agree with that at all. I think that's corruption. I prefer to feel responsible for my own success. I'd hate the idea it was just because of my connections. What about you, Tommy? Your opinion is somewhere in the middle of this one, I suppose. Well, yes, actually, I wouldn't actively use my family connection to get ahead. But you know, I wouldn't actually refuse a good job just because of that. Jimmy would sell his own motor to get to the top, wouldn't you, Jimmy? Yeah, if anyone would buy her. 3A point 3E point two. Big. Now they were fine blocking my way because I could have done the same to anyone else. You're exhausted. You plunge yourself down at the top when you get there. So I had to try and nudge my way around these people. But if you can just picture it, if you sleep, you you could have just fallen off the mountain and fallen down. thousands of feet, and I was en rope, and you are exhausted, and you just sort of you feel wobbly at the top because suddenly all the land is disappearing. 300, 360 degrees because you're near the top, and I just thought I'm not going to make it, and this is my second attempt. 3.4. To describe for those not familiar with the physical state of your body at that point. Oh, that's hard one to describe. There's a third of the oxygen up at the level compared to what we breathe down at sea level. I can describe how tired you feel if you think of the tiredest you've ever felt, and then multiply that by 2 or 3. You go through layers of tiredness as you climb up the mountain, and there are times when you think I actually can't take another step because I'm going to collapse, but something inside you, because in your head you really need to want to get to that target very badly, and somehow and, and somehow or other push through the barriers. But at that level, from 26,000 feet up, you are in a thing called the dead zone, which is when your body doesn't exist naturally, so the systems are starting to break down and just close down on you. So saliva is a luxury. It just is. It just isn't there. There are obvious physical manifestations, but for you there were also psychological manifestation that you'd fallen in your previous attempt. You'd come so close to getting to the summit, and nearly die around on the attempts. Yeah, and here you were. Can you explain that? Your state of mind? Or are you not thinking? Are you on autopilot at the point? Or are you conscious of thought? Conscious of the potential danger? Hence the reason why these last 15 feet I thought, whoops, what's going to happen. And it's hard. It really is hard. No, it really is hard one to describe because everything you are in an alien environment. You can eat, you are feeling sick, headaches, very tired, like ridiculous, tired, hard to breathe, you've got oxygen coming through any oxygen mask. I was wearing goggles, and most people do, and they frozen up. They've steamed off initially, then it's so cold that they freeze. And I actually was looking through the bottom right hand corner of my goggles, and that was the way I was climbing. So there was no view actually at the time, but when I got to the top, I literally just plunked myself down.